Welcome back. You're watching Media Week. All right, time for a look at the TV ratings with our co-host James Manning from Media Week. And James, this is of course for week 26. Let's start with the top 10 free-to-air TV first.
Yep, Voice Kids doing very well. #1 show for the week, outrating its bigger sibling, if you like, The Voice. So yeah, knocking it right out of the top 5. In fact, House Rules and 7 News Sunday taking up the rest. Nearly at the end of House Rules. They've got nearly another 10 episodes out of the format this year, but a bit disappointing. There's only a 2-hour grand final. I think 7's form, they could have stretched that out to 2 or 3 episodes, surely.
Just turning the page, you can see at number 7 there, The Voice, as you mentioned.
Yeah, The Voice turns up there a bit further down the list. Not a long way behind, but yeah, Voice Kids is doing very well, and they've had 2 weeks of really good ratings. So Shine and 9 would be, and the sponsors who've signed on would be all very happy about that.
All right, let's have a look at the subscription TV, the top 5 sports shows for week 26 there.
Yep. AFL right up the top there, NRL, Freo West Coast, the sort of local derby over in Perth, they're doing very well too there.
And looking at the non-sport, the top 5 rating on subscription TV in week 26.
Yeah, Inside Selling Houses, that's Selling Houses Australia. They've always been loath to do a spin-off, but they've finally done one, and there's a series, I think 3 specials that look behind the scenes on the show, some of the highlights, some extra footage, some new interviews. So, and look, it did fantastic business. Wentworth getting towards the end of the 2nd season there. That's still doing very good business for Soho as well.
And Fox 8 doing quite
well. Yeah, look, those animation shows, they're always creeping around that top 5, aren't they?
Yes.
And do very well for them.
All right, let's have a look at some of the other news. We were speaking earlier about sports rights. Fox Sports, of course, doing that cricket deal for the England versus India and also the New Zealand Test series.
Yeah, look, there's been some chat earlier this year that was Fox Sports, you know, pulling back from covering international cricket. It's very late at night often, the numbers aren't brilliant, but there's a core audience that do well, and that probably helps drive some of that subscriptions to the sports package, if you like. So yeah, Fox Sports coming out to say, yeah, look, we've got a new deal with the English Cricket Board, so we're covering the English cricket team, those two series you mentioned, India. It actually starts next week, the series against India, and then I think it's later or it's in the first half of 2015 will be the New Zealand tour. But yeah, very popular, the English team at the moment. They're red hot. People like to see them. As we talked about last week, they'll be back in Australia again soon too.
Just on sports as well, the World Cup. It's getting close now, getting near to the final stages.
This weekend we'll know the Final 4, won't we? Look, it's doing okay for SBS, but call me crazy, but I would have thought the biggest sporting event in the world, the audiences would be a bit bigger. We're seeing those 6 a.m. kick-off games, audiences around 300,000. I would have thought, come on, guys. The audience should be doing a bit better. The coverage is brilliant. SBS are doing a good job. I mean, look in the US, they have biggest audiences ever for some of the sports there. It's gone mainstream in the US. 18 million people watched a game last week. 16 million people watched another game. Sure, the time difference is in their favour, yeah, right, but it's still, that's a cable audience. It's ESPN, so you've got to be a subscriber. So yeah, but I think we should be doing a bit better.
What about Wimbledon, obviously, with the good Aussie showing there?
That's doing very well. Yeah, it's interesting the way 7 are presenting that. It's the evening, it starts on 7:02. I think it's around about 9 p.m. it goes live. Then later in the night it switches across to 7. Yeah, with the Aussie doing very well this week, the numbers have been pretty good for Wimbledon. And some years when we don't do it very well, it's right off the radar almost.
Okay. Just going to ask you too about 10, and obviously there'd been a lot of talk about what they were going to do at 6 p.m. Family Feud is coming, a lot of promos for it.
Oh, look, there's so many promos. I feel like I've seen an episode already. I mean, if you watch MasterChef, and I watch a bit of MasterChef, you get to see a lot of it. And I guess, look, people in TV say you can't promo too much. So, you know, I'm obviously not the average viewer. So yeah, you've just got to work the audience. And 10 has really got one big show that's working for a mass market, and that's MasterChef. So you really need to pump them all in. It starts on July 14. What will be their expectations? Well, look, it's not going to compete, at least initially, against the big news bulletins on 7 or 9. They'd be hoping, look, if we can do 500,000 plus to kick off, that'll give them a good base to build on. So yeah, they'll be looking something like that.
Interesting news from 7 this week, going into the movie business.
Yeah, it's interesting. They 7 get involved, I guess. It sounds like this one's a bit of an investment. I think they often get involved in a movie just to get the TV rights when it comes out. I think Kath and Kim, they had a bit of that action just so they got the movie when it comes out. Ironically, that movie was little little cared for by the audience, and it wasn't a big deal when it finally reached TV. But you didn't know when you were going to invest. This one's called Manny Lewis. Carl Barron, the comedian. It's a production he's involved with, and look, he's very successful on the comedian. They call him Australia's most successful comedian. Sells a lot of DVDs. This guy of his performances. So he's big out there where that Seven's heartland audience. So this could be an interesting project for them. Making it with Beyond Productions.
Michael Parkinson interviewing Ian Thorpe on 10. Could there be something more in this?
Sounds like a bit of a Peter Meakin project, this one, but but they've got Ian Thorpe's going to be joining their commentary team for the Commonwealth Games. It's only a couple of weeks away in Glasgow, so they're going to take the opportunity. There's a lot of interest in Ian Thorpe. What's he been up to the last few years? So Parky's going to be sitting down with him, 6:30 Sundays, the time slot. Could it be the start of an ongoing relationship? I think it'll depend on the ratings. If they get good numbers, they could think, OK, well, Michael Parkinson could be available to us. People will talk to him, so let's get a bit of a series underway, and we might jag a few viewers.
Yeah, and just finally and quickly, Foxtel streaming movie service now available on Chromecasters. We've spoken about Chromecasters. But another deal done as well. Yeah, with News Corp. Yeah, that Presto. They really need to try and get it out there. It's had a bit of take up, but I think the numbers are low. The streaming video is a hard market. It's just a long-term game. So they've done a deal with News Corp. I think people who subscribe to News Corp newspapers, the digital apps, stuff like that, can get a free trial period with Presto. So it might sample Foxtel to a few people who've been resistant so far. James, as always, thank you so much for that.
Bridie.
James Manning there from Media Week. That's all we've got time for this week from the team here. Thanks for your company.